Good evening, all. I welcome you all on the behalf of StudyIQ English IAS. My name is Pritesh Maturkar. Warm evening, and I welcome you all to this fourth lecture. My bad, I guess this is the third lecture of the innovative series that we have started, Geography Through Maps. Okay, so before I begin, I will just like to introduce myself again to those who have been following me from last 2 or 3 days, and those who are joining me new. Kindly take note of the Telegram channel wherein I will be uploading some good content, wherein I will be uploading some good data with regards to the discipline called as geography. Okay, so before any further ado, my name is Pritesh Maturkar. I will be your primary faculty for geography curriculum. So this curriculum, that is geography through maps, will give you a foundational clarity of the discipline called as geography. Using these principles, using the data which you will learn in these sessions, you can easily cover up roughly 50 to 60% of your GS geography syllabus, and even you can cover some of the advanced level concepts of geography too. Okay, you can search me on Telegram. The sharing link of Telegram is this: telegram.me geography underscore PM. Okay, mind you, this is geography underscore PM, and the name of the channel is Geography by Pritesh. Okay, it's a free to join channel wherein I will be keeping you updated with regards to the current affairs of discipline of geography, whatever is happening on day-to-day basis, and I will also be posting relevant data with regards to the UPSC civil service examination from prelims perspective as well as the mains perspective. And I will also be sharing with you some of the beautiful thoughts with regards to this discipline which you can quote in interview too, because my ultimate objective with each and every one of you is that I want each and every one of you to start liking this discipline. Okay, mind you, don't fall in love with geography, otherwise you will end up teaching geography like me. So please just like geography, don't fall in love with geography. Okay, so I will try to inculcate some good habits in you all with regards to this discipline. And geography is a wonderful discipline. Geography is linked to your lifestyle, geography is linked to your history, geography is linked to the society which you live. So basically, if you understand geography, you will understand your purpose on earth. Okay, I'm opening up the philosophical dimension, but yeah, that's true. Okay, that is the enormity, that is the gravity of geography per se. Okay, so you can join me on this very channel, geography underscore PM or geography by Pritesh sir, as you want. Okay, so before any further ado, let's begin with our discussion. So yesterday I introduced you to the thing called as the tropics. In the previous sessions, I introduced you to a thing called as equator and the shape of earth, the tilt of the earth. So yesterday we further aggravated our decisions towards understanding the different geographical dates on the calendar. So, yesterday I introduced you to the different orbital dates of Earth. So, if I'm revising quickly that for every one of you, so the orbit of Earth is not perfectly circular, it is slightly elliptical. Okay, with a small eccentricity. The orbit of the earth tends to shift from perfectly circular to perfectly extremely elliptical to slightly less circular, slightly less ecliptic. Okay, and this variation is roughly between 1 lakh years. So in 1 lakh years time, the orbit of earth will vary from being perfectly circular to perfectly elliptical and then back. Okay, so if I'm drawing the orbit of earth which is there as of today, so let's just imagine that this is our sun. Okay, I'm drawing it using red pen. Okay, and let's assume that this is the orbit of earth per se. Okay, So this is our sun. Okay. And the orbit of Earth around the sun as of today is like this. It's not perfectly circular, it is slightly elliptical with sun at one of its foci. Okay, so we have marked up four distinct dates in the geographical calendar yesterday. So I'm marking up the four positions again. So this is position one position, this is another position, okay, this is another position, and this one is another position. Okay, and let us consider this to be the axial tilt of Earth, which is roughly 23.4 degrees as of today, and the axial tilt of Earth will vary between 22.1 to around 24.5 degrees in a lifespan of around 0 to 40,000 years. So for your lifespan particularly, you can consider the tilt of Earth to be constant. Okay, so we have marked up four positions yesterday. This was position number A, this was position number B, this was position number C, and this was position number D. So if you see position number A, and if I divide the Earth into two hemispheres on the basis of equator, so in position number A, the northern hemisphere is directly pointing the sun, whereas southern hemisphere is away from the sun. So the global north is pointing towards the sun, whereas the global south is pointing away from the sun. And because of this, the position A will coincide with a thing called as summer solstice. Okay, so we will have northern summers. Position A will be called as summer solstice, and the summer solstice will appear on 20 or 21st of June each year. Okay. Whereas if you see position B, now the southern hemisphere is directly pointing the sun, whereas the northern hemisphere is pointing away from the sun. So position number B will be called as winter solstice. Okay. I already discussed yesterday why we are talking winter solstice over here, why we are not calling it summer solstice again. Why? Because majority of the Earth's landmass is concentrated in the northern hemisphere per se. So whatever these abbreviations are there, these are with respect to the northern hemisphere and not the southern hemisphere. Okay. In the southern hemisphere, you just have a tapering landmass of South America. You have little bit of Africa, you have little bit of Australia and New Zealand and some of the oceanic islands. That's it. Majority of the world's landmass is concentrated in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so these are the two important geographical calendar dates. So the summer solstice will coincide with the sun moving in the northern hemisphere. So 20 or 21st of June will mark the most extreme position of sun in the northern hemisphere, and latitude wise this position is denoted by Tropic of Cancer. So on 21st of June, sun will be directly overhead. Sun will be directly overhead on Tropic of Cancer. Whereas on winter solstice will normally appear on 21st or 22nd of December. Okay, so sun will be directly overhead on Tropic of Capricorn. On Tropic of Capricorn. So Tropic of Cancer will be denoted by 23.5 degrees north, whereas Tropic of Capricorn will be denoted by 23.5 degrees south. So if I'm showcasing you with regards to the diagram of this, so let us say this is our sun. Okay, let us assume this is our let us assume this is our earth. Okay, okay, this is the axial tilt of earth on 21st of June. Okay, and this is the actual tilt of Earth, 22nd of December. This is our equator. This is our equator. So now, if you consider this position now, so the sun's rays will start falling perpendicularly. They will always be perpendicular on the equator. So sun's rays, they will be always be perpendicular on the equator. Okay. So now, if you consider this side, the sun's rays are also perpendicular at this latitude, and this latitude will coincide with the Tropic of Cancer. Okay. So, Tropic of Cancer will now denote the maximum extent till which the sun's rays fall perpendicularly in the northern hemisphere. Hence, on Tropic of Cancer, on 21st of June, sun will be directly overhead at 12 p.m. sharp. Why? Because the sun's rays are falling perpendicularly. After this, the sun's rays will start falling at an angle. The sun's rays will start becoming slant. So, mind you, the Tropic of Cancer will denote that latitude wherein the sun's rays will fall perpendicularly on 21st of June, after which the sun's rays will start falling slant. Similarly, if we consider this 22nd of December and if we consider the sun's rays, so sun's rays now will fall perpendicularly on Earth at a latitude called as Tropic of Capricorn. We can denote the Tropic of Capricorn like this. So this angle now becomes perpendicular. Beyond this, the sun's rays will start becoming slant, and of course the sun's rays will fall perpendicularly on the equator too. Okay, the position of equator with respect to the sun is fixed every year. Okay, so this was the discussion yesterday. So the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn will mark up the northernmost and the southernmost extremities wherein the sun's rays will fall perpendicularly on 21st of June, that is summer solstice, and on 22nd of December, that is winter solstice. Beyond this, the sun's rays will start falling slant. Okay, so now let us continue our discussions even further. So up till now we have discussed four latitudes, dare I say three latitudes. So I have discussed the 0 degree equator. Okay, I have discussed the two tropics, 23.5 degrees north, that is called as Tropic of Cancer. I have discussed 23.5 degrees south, that is called as Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so now I'm moving to even further discussion. We are adding two more latitudes over here. So the two more latitudes that I'm adding as of now, they are 66.5 degrees north. This latitude is called as Arctic Circle. This latitude is called as Arctic Circle, and 66.5 degrees south. This is called as Antarctic Circle. Okay. So now what do these two latitudes denote? Okay. So if I'm discussing with regards to the orbit of Earth with regards to Sun, so now if you see position number C and position number D, if you see position number C and position number D, so in position C and position D, both of these dates, you will have equal halves of Earth being equally exposed to the sun. So you will have 12 hours of day and you will have 12 hours of night. And these two positions, C and D, they will be called as equinoxes. Position number C will be called as vernal equinox. It will be called as vernal equinox, whereas position number D will be called as autumnal equinox. It will be called as autumnal equinox. It will be called as autumnal equinox. So these dates are very important from the Arctic Circle and from the Antarctic Circle perspective. Why so? That I'll now care to explain you. So now, if you want to assess what do you mean by Arctic Circle and what do you mean by Antarctic Circle, so now let's open up the map of the world per se. Okay, and let us discuss with regards to the Arctic Circle and the Antarctic Circle. So we have already finished up discussing the tropics, the equator. So now I'm drawing the Arctic Circle for every one of you. Okay. So the Arctic, there was some audio in the order. Sorry for that. So this is our Arctic Circle. Now, what will this Arctic Circle denote for the world? Okay. So this Arctic Circle will denote that latitude. This Arctic Circle will denote that latitude wherein if you go above this latitude, the sun will neither set or the sun will not rise for at least 1 day in each calendar year. I'm again reiterating, if you go over here, so the Arctic latitude will denote that the Arctic latitude or the Arctic Circle will denote that latitude wherein the sun will not set or the sun will not rise at least for 1 day in a calendar year. Now, what do you mean exactly by this? Okay, so now I'm opening up the 3D image of Earth for you all. Okay, so if I'm going over here, if you see this, this is our North Pole. Okay, so this is our North Pole and this is our Arctic Circle like this. Okay, this is denoted by 66.5 degrees north. Beyond this, the sun's rays will fall at an extremely slant angle. Beyond this, the sun's rays will fall very diffused. So because of this, number one, you are having very cold temperatures. So the Arctic Circle, it is also called as tree line. The Arctic Circle is also called as tree line. Okay. Why? Because beyond the Arctic Circle, you will not find any trees. You will not find any big tall trees. You will rather find very small bushes and called as mosses and lichens. Okay. Above Arctic Circle, you will not find any trees. And above Arctic Circle, you will also find the home of Santa Claus. Okay. That also, I will dare say this. Okay. Jokes apart, but you find the home of Santa Claus over there. And above this Arctic Circle, what will happen? If you go to the poles per se, the poles will have 6 months. The poles will have 6 months of darkness, 6 months of darkness, and 6 months of daylight, and 6 months of daylight. of daylight. Why? This is with regards to the position and the actual tilt of the earth. So if you consider this part of the world, wherein if you move towards the polar regions over here, so the sun's rays, whenever if the sun is in northern hemisphere, so the sun's rays will always be reaching the northern pole. Why? Because it is exposed to the sun. So if you go to the northern pole on 21st of June, you will have 24 hours sunlight on the northern pole. Whereas if you go to the North Pole in the winter solstice, you will have 24 hours of darkness. So 66.5 degrees north or the tree line will also denote that latitude wherein for at least one day you will have complete sun in the sky, or for at least one day you will have complete darkness. The sun will not rise above the horizon. When you will have the complete one day, you will have the complete one day on summer solstice. So the sun will just peak above the horizon, sun will remain over there, and then sun will always be there for 24 hours of day. Whereas if you go to the North Pole on the winter solstice, if you go to the North Pole on 22nd or 21st of December, the sun will not rise up above the horizon. It will rather be below the horizon, approximately 5 to 6 degrees below. Okay, it will not rise up. Why? Because of this orange, because of this alignment of the North Pole. So the North Pole is basically always, it will always be, position of the North Pole will always be like this with respect to the sun. So for 6 months you will have light, and for 6 months you will have darkness. So remember, I told you that the equinoxes days are very important. Why? Because on one equinox the sun will permanently set over one pole, and the sun will permanently rise over the another pole. Whereas on the another equinox, the sun will set on one pole and will rise up on the another pole. So the two equinoxes, the 20th of March and 23rd of September, will denote that dates wherein the sun will either rise over the North Pole or it will set on the North Pole. Okay, so now let us move towards the discussion. So mind you, I'm again reiterating the 66.5 degrees north, the 66.5 degrees north will denote that latitude wherein you will not have any trees above. You will not have any trees above. This is also called as tree line, or it is also called as Arctic Circle. And above the Arctic Circle, you will at least have one day wherein the sun will never set, or one day when the sun will never rise up. Okay, I will write those things for you all. Just keep this in mind. Now, if we move to the southern hemisphere, okay, the southern hemisphere will again have the same thing. In the southern hemisphere, you will have the Antarctic Circle. So if I take you all to Antarctica, and if I'm drawing the Antarctic Circle for you all, which is denoted by 66.5 degrees south, 66.5 degrees south. Okay. So what will this circle again denote? This circle again denote that beyond this, you will not have trees. There will be no trees beyond this circle. Okay. There will be no trees beyond this circle. And also, beyond this line, you will have at least one day when the sun will never rise. So, when the sun will never rise, of course, during the time of winters. So, southern winters means what? Northern summers. The sun will never rise on Antarctica on 21st of June, whereas the sun will rise over Antarctica on 22nd of December, because then the northern hemisphere will enter into winters, whereas the southern hemisphere will enter into the summers. I will jot that down, everyone. I know it's a bit confusing, but it's also a bit interesting. Just imagine that you are a small penguin on the southern pole. So you are a small penguin, so you have to be in darkness for 6 months and you have to be in daylight for 6 months. Here we can't even manage 124 hours fruitfully. So just imagine how the penguins will manage 6 months of darkness and 6 months of daylight. Okay, jokes apart, so let's move ahead. So I'm writing all those points for you all now. Okay. So what does the 66.5 degrees north and 66.5 degrees south denote? Okay. So the 66.5 degrees north, or the Arctic Circle will denote that latitude where, number one, beyond which beyond which beyond which you will find no trees. Okay, the vegetation over there will be very small. You will have mosses and lichens. Okay, you will have mosses and you will have lichens over there. Basically, the area to the north of 66 and half, it is called as permafrost. It is called as permafrost. Okay. Number two. Number two. Okay. The sun will not rise. Will not rise or set for for at least for at least one day, for at least one day, that is either on 21st of June. So 21st of June you will have 24 hours daylight. You will have 24 hours daylight, and on 22nd of December you will have 24 hours of darkness. You will have 24 hours of darkness. Where? In the northern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere. Okay. Whereas in the southern hemisphere, the conditions will be exactly opposite. In the southern hemisphere, the conditions will be exactly opposite. So in the southern hemisphere, on 21st of June, you will have 24 hours of darkness, whereas on 22nd of December, you will have 24 hours of daylight. And mind you, the rising and the setting of the sun is not like what we see on the equator, not we see on the tropical lands where you and me both reside. Okay, here the sun rises, it reaches above our head and then sets. Whereas if you move to the poles, because of they being so far distance from the sun and the orientation of earth with respect to the sun will just peek up from the horizon, it will just peep from the horizon, it will remain over there for 24 hours and for eternity if you are in June. Whereas if you move down south, the sun will rise up and then it will set. So hence 21st of June it is called as the day of perpetual sunlight in the northern hemisphere. So if you move to the polar regions, it will be called as the day of perpetual sunlight. And if you move to the northern pole on 22nd of December, it will be called as the day of perpetual darkness. Okay. I'm again opening you all the diagram of Earth per se, so you understand this very properly. Okay. So let's assume this is our Earth. Assume means like for now I'm just showcasing you all the Earth. Okay. Assume this is our sun. Okay. Now, okay. Let us assume this to be the axial tilt of the Earth. Okay. And let me draw the equator for everyone so that you get a bird's eye view. Okay. Let us assume that this is the equator of Earth per se. Okay. So now if I start rotating the Earth, we are considering 21st of June. Okay. I'm considering what? I'm considering 21st of June for everyone. This is 21st of June. Okay. Now see the northern hemisphere. Okay. If you see the sun's rays are always falling on the northern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere is always lit. Okay, this is the rotation of Earth per se. And this being the polar locations, the sun's rays will fall at a slant angle. It will be diffused. It will not be the same as in the case of the other latitudes. Okay, so the northern hemisphere will always be exposed, and if you consider the polar regions, the north pole will always be exposed to the sun. So on 21st of June on the north pole you will have 24 hours of daylight. Okay, it will be called as the perpetual daylight day on the northern hemisphere. Whereas if we move down south, Whereas if we move down south, the exact opposite thing will be happening in Antarctica. Why? Because Antarctica will be away from the sun, and Antarctica will receive almost zero sunlight. Receive in the sense there will be some sunlight, but that will be extremely diffused. Okay. So Antarctica will enter into perpetual darkness on 21st of June. So northern summers, southern winters, southern summers, northern winters. Okay. So please remember this guys very, very properly. Okay. So I'm quickly reiterating for you all both of these latitudes, 66.5 degrees north and 66.5 degrees south. Okay. So what do these two latitudes denote? 66.5 degrees north and south, they will denote two lines, the Arctic Circle and the Antarctic Circle. Beyond this, you will not find any trees. The vegetation will be very small. You will have small mosses and lichens. Okay. Beyond this, you will have at least one day when the sun will neither rise up or the sun will neither set. When the sun will not set, it will not set on the summer solstice. When the sun will not rise on the winter solstice. And the exactly opposite will be happening in the southern hemisphere. Now, let us connect this with the equinoxes. Okay. So remember these two equinoxes which we have discussed. Okay. So remember position number C and position number D. Okay. So position number C or the spring equinox, it happens on 28th of March each year. Whereas position number D or the autumnal equinox, it normally happens on 23rd of September. Okay. Happens on 23rd of September. So now if I'm considering 28th of March, what is happening? The northern hemisphere is now getting exposed more to the sun. So the northern hemisphere is entering into summers. So the spring equinox or the vernal equinox will coincide with that day when the northern pole will experience the first of the sun's rays for the first time after 6 months of darkness. So we will have first sunrise on the northern pole on 28th of March. Guys, this is very interesting information. Why? Just imagine that you are a polar bear and you are seeing the sun for the first time after 6 months. Okay, so the spring equinox will become very important for you as a polar bear because you are hibernating and you are now coming out from the hibernating winters and you are now experiencing the sun's rays for the very first time. So 20th of March will be the first sunrise over the north pole, whereas it will be the last sunset over the south pole. The south pole will now enter into perpetual darkness. So it will be the first sunset over north pole and the last, sorry, first sunrise over the north pole and the last sunset over the southern pole. This will be when on 20th of March. So 20th of March you will see the sun for the first time peeping over horizon on the North Pole, whereas for the last time the sun will set below the horizon, and after that you will have 6 months of darkness on the on the southern pole. Okay, so very interesting information this is, but it's so it that is what Earth is. Okay, Nitish Kumar, thank you. Good evening. I hope you are enjoying this session. Okay, so let's move ahead. So this is with regards to 20th of March per se. So now just let us discuss 23rd of September too. Okay, so what will be the 23rd of September coinciding with? So if you now see 23rd of September, the Earth is moving, the northern hemisphere is moving from summers to winters. So the northern pole will be experiencing winters, whereas the southern pole will be experiencing summers. Okay, so for the first time on the southern hemisphere, the sun will peep up over the horizon on 23rd of September. So 23rd of September will be the first sunrise, will be the first sunrise where on the southern pole, whereas it will be the last sunset, it will be the last sunset on the northern pole, on the northern pole. Okay, so beyond this, the northern pole will enter into perpetual darkness for 6 months, because the northern pole will now be pointing away from the sun, and the northern pole will come under the sun's rays only on the 20th of March, that is the vernal equinox. So these days becomes very, very important. Hence, I've discussed this 4 days with you all of the geographical calendar year, because these days are very imbibed into the life of Earth per se, the seasons. Okay, the summer solstice is beginning of summers in the northern hemisphere, whereas the winter solstice coincides with the beginning of winters in the northern hemisphere. So your life and my life on the Earth is closely linked with all these important dates. Okay, so if I'm quickly summarizing for you all everything that we have discussed up till now, please pay close attention to me now, everyone. So, up till now, I discussed with you the shape of Earth. It's geoidal, it's spherical, it's slightly bulging at the center and flattening at the poles. And the tilt of Earth is not straight, the tilt of Earth is slightly inclined with the vertical. The tilt right now, as of today, is around 23.4 degrees. Okay, so because of this, as we move from equator towards the poles, the sun's rays they start becoming increasingly slant, and hence, from equator towards the poles in general, the temperature decreases. Okay, if you consider the orbit of the Earth, you will have very two important dates. You will have the two solstices, the summer solstice and the winter solstice. The summer solstice and the winter solstice will coincide with the maximum northern and the southern migration of the sun with respect to Earth. Mind you, this migration is apparent, this migration is not actual. If I'm again showcasing you the diagram of the orbit of the Earth, so if you are considering this position, 21st of June, so with respect to the Earth, Sun has slightly migrated above. Above means northern. Why? Because of the inclination of the Earth's orbit with respect to the Sun. And if you are coming over here, so with respect to the northern hemisphere, Sun has slightly migrated down south. Again, see guys, this is all apparent. This is because of the angle of the orbital plane of Earth with the orbital angle of the Sun. Okay, these are all apparent motions. Okay, and these two solstices will coincide with the northernmost and the southernmost extent of the sun with respect to the earth. Okay, so and they will also coincide when the sun's rays will fall perpendicularly, the maximum extent till which the sun's rays will fall perpendicularly on earth. Beyond this, the sun's rays will start increasingly becoming slant with respect to the earth. Okay, so now if I'm showcasing this all on the Earth's map, whatever we did up till now. So let's do this. Let's finish this off so that we can move even to the higher concepts. So I'm quickly marking up all the latitudes for you all the important latitudes for you all. So the first latitude that I will be marking is the 0 degree equator. Okay. So the 0 degree equator. Okay. Then you have the two tropics. Okay, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. I'm using red color for denoting the two tropics. I'm also showcasing you all for you all the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, so this is 0 degree. This is our equator. This is our Tropic of Cancer. Okay, 23.5 degrees north. This is our Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south. This is our Tropic of Capricorn. Okay. What do these two tropics will denote? These two tropics will denote the maximum extent of the northernmost and the southernmost migration of the sun. This is north and this is south. And sun will be directly overhead on Tropic of Cancer on 21st of June. So this latitude corresponds with the 21st of June calendar year. On 21st of June, sun will be directly overhead on Tropic of Cancer. Beyond this, the sun's rays will all fall at an angle. So the sun's rays will become increasingly diffused above. Okay, increasingly become diffused above. Whereas the sun will be directly overhead on Tropic of Capricorn. On Tropic of Capricorn on 23rd of sorry on 22nd of December 22nd of December, and beyond this, the sun's rays will all fall at an angle which is slant, and the sun's rays will become diffused. Okay, so the northernmost and the southernmost extremities of the migration of sun with respect to the earth, and mind you, this is apparent migration, this is not actual migration. Okay, so now I'm giving you a very good tidbit. Okay, hi Suresh and Nitish, if you are listening to me, listen to me this very carefully. Those who will be listening to me in the lectures too, we celebrate festivals like Makar Sankranti, we celebrate festivals like Uttanarayan, we celebrate festivals like Pongal. Okay, so what do the festivals like Uttanarayan, Pongal, and Makar Sankranti denote? They denote the apparent migration of the sun in the northern hemisphere. They denote that sun is now finally entering into the northern hemisphere, so now we can harvest our crops. So during this festivals we like to eat sesame seeds. Why sesame seeds? Because we have just migrated from winters and we are slowly progressing into spring, and from spring we'll be progressing into the summers. So our digestive system does not work that much fine with the changing seasons, hence we eat sesame seeds, hence we eat thing called as sarso ka saag and the roti which is made up of maize. All these things, they do what? They ignite our digestive fire, because we are moving from winters to spring to summers. So your diet, whatever you are eating according to the seasons, is closely linked with this movement of sun between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Hence I told you that geography is a discipline which is very much linked to your diet too. Okay, so always study geography from this perspective. If you remember geography from your dietary preferences perspective, you will never forget geography. Okay, and that is how I teach to the aspirants. You will remember this very beautifully. Okay, and mind you guys, the migration of sun with the northern and the southern hemisphere is also responsible for variations in the different atmospheric wind movements too. Okay, that are some advanced little concepts. We'll come to that too. But just make sure that you are comfortable with this fact that sun will migrate between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. The other two latitudes which we have discussed today, I'm now marking those latitudes for you too. Okay, so the other latitude that I've discussed with you all today is the Arctic Circle, okay, and the Antarctic Circle, and the Antarctic Circle. Okay. this is our Antarctic Circle. Okay. So if I'm writing these things for you all, so this is 66 and half degrees north. This is 66 and half degrees south. Okay. Beyond Arctic Circle, you will not find any trees. Okay, you will not find any trees. This region is called as permafrost. This region is called as permafrost. It is permanently frozen. And beyond this, you will have at least one day when the sun will never rise up above the horizon, or the sun will never set below the horizon. So when the sun will never rise up, that will be corresponding with the winter solstice, and the sun will never set, that will be corresponding with the summer solstice. So above Arctic Circle, you will not have any daylight if you are in the winters, and above Arctic Circle you will tend to have almost more than 12 hours of daylight if you are in the summers, and exactly opposite will be happening in the Antarctic Circle. Okay, so 66 and a half degrees south, you will have at least one day when you will have 24 hours of daylight, and that will be in the southern summers. So that will be on the winter solstice, that is 22nd of December, whereas you will have 24 hours of darkness beyond the Arctic Circle on 21st of June, when the northern hemisphere will be experiencing summers, whereas the southern hemisphere will be experiencing winters. And mind you, this rising and setting of the sun is linked with the equinoxes. Okay, the 20th of March, okay, the spring equinox. So for the first time, North Pole will receive sunlight. So North Pole will experience the first sunrise after 6 months of darkness, whereas the Antarctica or Antarctic Circle will experience the last sunset. It will now go into 6 months of perpetual darkness. And exactly opposite thing will be happening on 23rd of September. 23rd of September, the North Pole will have its last sunrise, whereas the South Pole will experience its first sunrise after 6 months of darkness. Okay, so just imagine the arduous life of penguins and all those animals which reside in the poles. They have to deal with 6 months of darkness and 6 months of daylight throughout their life cycle. Okay, and mind you guys, okay, because of climate change and this interrelation of Earth with respect to the sun, climate change is aggravating all of the ecological changes, all of the polar ice melting, and climate change is basically resulting into even more adverse consequences for the life forms over here. Already their life is so damn difficult because they have to face 6 months of daylight and 6 months of darkness. For the first time this year in the sense 2021 and 2022, you had ice-free winters in Alaska. Okay, if I'm drawing over here, so this part of the world, for the first time you had ice-free winters over here. This part of Norway, this is called as Lapland. Lapland is the home of Santa Claus. Okay, so for the first time in 2021 and 2022, you had ice-free winters over here. Okay, because of climate change. And the primary occupation of the Lapland is reindeer rearing. Okay, for the people of Lapland, reindeer is the most important animal. Okay, and because of ice-free winters, reindeers basically they dug out the small mosses and lichens in the snow and they feed on them. Because of that, because of ice-free winters, the reindeer population is now increasingly becoming less. It is dwindling at rapid pace in the Lapland, and this is affecting the life of the local Eskimos and the people over there too. And guys, you will be shocked to hear this. Because of climate change, Norway, Finland, Sweden. So if I'm opening up the Earth's atlas for you all, if I'm opening the Earth for you all, okay, let's open the Earth for you all. Okay, so if I'm taking you to the countries which are to the north of the Arctic Circle, okay, so let us assume that this is our Arctic Circle. Okay, it goes like this. This is our Arctic Circle like this. Okay. So the countries of Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland. Okay. The Nordic countries and the Finnish countries. So for the first time, these countries are now experiencing summer temperatures which are way above 25 degrees too. Okay, you will be shocked to hear that the Russian part of the Arctic Circle, you have a city over here called as Verkhoyansk. There is a city over here called as Verkhoyansk. If I'm writing the name of the city for you all, okay. Verkhoyansk is the northernmost, most habitable or the highest habitable city anywhere in the northern polar region above the Arctic Circle. The name of the city is Verkhoyansk. Verkhoyansk. The population of the city is roughly 3,20,000, and it is the most densely populated city anywhere to the north of Arctic Circle. So last year, Verkhoyansk reached temperatures of around 37 degrees Celsius. Just imagine. I'm talking that above Arctic Circle, you won't find any trees. It is called as permafrost region. But for the first time last year, a city called as Verkhoyansk, which is the most populated city to the north of Arctic Circle. The population of the city is roughly 3,20,000. This city reached temperatures of 37 degrees Celsius. So climate change is aggravating everything which is to the north of Arctic Circle. So it is aptly said that if you want to witness what is climate change, you should go to the north of Arctic Circle. Then you will truly see what climate change is actually doing to over there. Okay, and the exactly opposite is happening in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so if you go to the southern hemisphere, if you go to Antarctica, the things are even more arduous in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so if you see Antarctica over here, okay, okay, so this is our Antarctic Circle. Okay, if you closely observe Antarctica, Antarctica is what? Antarctica is a frozen land, is a frozen land surrounded by sea. Frozen land surrounded by sea. It is a frozen land surrounded by sea, and because of climate change, okay, the waters around Antarctica are increasingly becoming warmer. Okay, there is a current, ocean current over here. Now let's not move into that. I'm just giving you some hints. There is a continuous ocean current around Antarctica. It is called as west wind drift, and because of climate change, the ocean current is flowing with even more speed, and it is resulting into historical melting of Antarctica. So this year you had one of the biggest glaciers which came out from Antarctica. The glacier came out from this part of Antarctica. Okay, so this part of Antarctica is from where the glacier came outside, and the square foot area of the glacier was approximately 20,000 square kilometers. So the glacier of the size of New York and London, it broke out from the Antarctica. So climate change is aggravating everything to the north of the Arctic Circle and the north of the Antarctic Circle. So these four latitudes, guys, the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, the Arctic Circle, and the Antarctic Circle are very important from your prelims perspective as well as from your mains perspective for understanding the global variations in climate because of climate change and global warming. So I hope that all of these discussions are clear to you all. Okay, I'm again reiterating. My name is Pritesh Maturkar. Okay, you can reach out to me on Telegram. I'm opening up that page again wherein I have my contact info. Okay, my name is Pritesh Mathurkar. You can reach out to me on Telegram. The name of the channel is Geography by Pritesh Sir, wherein you can contact me directly. We can discuss the important current affairs with regards to geography as a discipline. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, I will be taking up the discussions to even higher level. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, I will start discussing the equators and tropics in even more detailed format. Okay, how is the climate on equator? What does that climate actually translate to on equator? How is the climate on the tropics? How does it actually translate on the tropics? And I will be taking up help of the atlas, because the name of the session itself is geography through maps. So we will be moving with a advanced pace with regards to that. So I hope that you are all comfortable with this info. You can see on the board where you can reach out to me. So on the behalf of Study IQ, I thank you all, and I hope that you will continue this journey with me, and that we will move on even with a greater pace. Thank you all, and I hope these sessions are enlightening for you. Okay, have a nice day. I'm pausing these sessions over here. We'll meet tomorrow exactly at 5 p.m. Thank you. Okay.